Hello, hello. Welcome to the 8th tournament qualifier for hybrid major glitches. This is our year's glitch tournament race that we're running. It's a new mode. I'm joined by Chex Human. Welcome.
Oh, Momo. I'm super excited about this tourney race.
Yeah, you've been in a lot of them, so you get to do commentary this time. How does that feel?
Great. It's nice to have a bit of a rest after grinding qualifiers, just for competition's sake. Yeah, I'm glad to be on commentary.
Great. So we're about to start really soon. I'll let you explain what the mode is while I get the race started.
Sure. Well, this is the Hybrid Major Glitches Tournament. If you watched in previous years, you may have seen the Overworld Glitches Tournament on SpeedGaming. And Overworld Glitches are essentially out-of-bounds clips. Link can bypass walls in the Overworld. And the boots give Link a lot of ease in which he can buffer, we call it dash buffering, around diagonal walls. And in certain positions, Link can teleport around the screen. He can hop in funny directions. And there are all kinds of ways that we can hop about and travel to new and unusual places.
Yeah, and we can do those in the overworld, and we've seen that in previous tournaments. This mode introduces a option to do that in the underworld as well. There's a couple places you can do that. Exactly 4 that the logic cares about, and a few more that are optional. Hopefully we'll get to see at least some of those today. As we start off in Link's house, otherTom with a very warm house. I imagine he must be in Canada right now.
That's right, and we have pendants in Eastern Palace and Desert Palace with Hera as a crystal.
All right, that's a good sign for us as viewers because we want to see some action in Swamp Palace and Pod because those are the exciting dungeons. Ice Palace is also exciting. That's a lamp on the island, but Furaime says, I'd rather have what's in Sahasrah's closet. otherTom says he wants that lamp, so he's going to go clip to it here. He's going to go do a teleport. As Chex explained, you can get on certain pixels that try to kick you out and take advantage of the physics there. And, I use the word physics very lightly. This is a Super Nintendo game. As Furaime finds a sword and a mail in Sahasrah's closet.
And one of the most clever tricks in this mode is to access the Hylia Island with the glitch called the funny auto walk thing. And Tom went through a long transition to land right on the top of the island.
What Furaime did there, because he knew he could just come back for that whenever he wanted. And the lamp wasn't going to make Sahasrah better unless he also found a bow there. And he did get rewarded with not having the guard be in his way when doing that clip and having something to defend himself if it were to happen. Tom has done another clip kind of similar, but he's clipped out onto the hobo area, setting up a fake flipper directly into Hobo's domain instead of having to go all the way to the bottom of the screen. It's a very fast way to get that check.
Right, and it's a fake flipper that is in logic. It's an in-logic check. Items can be placed in places where we are required to use major glitches or minor glitches. But it's the out-of-bounds fake flipper that gives us quick access to that check.
It's just doing the same thing Furaime was doing, but in a different order. The big difference is Furaime did not check the hobo. So it seems to have a slight lead. Hobo is one of those checks that if you don't do it right away, it can be hard to justify coming back to. So a lot of people will open with it just to not have to worry about it later. And if it is something good, then you get rewarded. Because it doesn't really get that much faster. You can get the flippers, making it easier. You can get the mirror and maybe route it in with something. But for the most part, that save and quit out of Link's house is going to be your fastest way to get there.
So Furaime has a sword. I didn't see which chest it was, but I assume it was Bonk Rocks.
The sword was in back of Sahasrahla, and otherTom has picked it up as well.
Oh, my fault. Okay.
There's a lot going on. We were
I just saw
explaining a glitch.
the mail. All right. And shoutouts to Furaime for popularizing the Sahasrahla first route back in 2018.
I actually didn't know Furaime goes all the way back to 2018. Overworld glitches. That's pretty neat.
He goes back to the original glitch logic.
That was the first. That was the second tournament I ever watched. Like the 2018 overworld glitches. I can't believe I slept on this mode for 2 more years before actually playing it myself. I've been missing out. So otherTom is doing a relatively new setup for Death Mountain Ascent, which is going to get him to the Old Man Cave. He's going for a spin speed clip. So when you get into spin speed state, you go through terrain in certain ways, and you can see him just slip right through there. Do some hops, and now he's in Old Man Cave. Taking advantage of that lamp.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, how often do you get to see the Old Man Cave in this mode?
Not very often, especially for a player like me who likes to go to the Old Man right away.
Yeah. So we got a bow and a bottle in Blind's Hut. There's usually some kind of quality of life resource you can find in Kakariko. So a lot of people will go there early before going to the mountain, but with the sword and lamp, the mountain's pretty appealing play.
Absolutely.
All right, and this is a really common hybrid major glitches thing to do, which is a little different from overworld glitches, which is to go straight into Hera as soon as you have a way to hit the switch. Hera is a little different in this mode because you're expected to clip here from Meyer a lot of the time, and the big key doesn't have to be placed accessibly. It can be upstairs, it can be on Moldorm. It can still be down here, and then, of course, you're able to climb, and then logic knows that, but we found a big key and a small key, so this is a accessible Hera. We can climb it right now and kill Moldorm.
Yeah, that's a bit surprising to see, but we see it occasionally.
Yeah, it's a 1 in 6 chance the big key gets placed in any given chest, and there's 2 in the front. So it's a 1 in 3 that Hera is accessible. Swamp is a little different. We'll see that later. Swamp is also one of those dungeons that you're expected to clip through Meyer to get to. So that small key can get placed anywhere it wants. There are 10 chests in Swamp that the small key can be in, and only one of them lets you go in through the front.
That's right. So if we wanted to take a 1 in 10 chance and see if we can get into Swamp the normal way, we can do that. But it's more common for racers to want to try to unlock Swamp early.
Point out, otherTom has found the map and compass, meaning there is an item in Hera Basement. Hera Basement is awkward because we like to have the small key for Swamp. The logic doesn't... Furaime, what are you doing? The logic...
He's talking to Cross Product.
Oh, say hi to Cross Product.
He would be happy if he were on comms right now.
So Hera Basement is awkward because we like to use the small key to open a door in Swamp. Even though the logic expects us to use a Meyer small key, it's much easier. It's 1 less clip to get to here from Hera, so we try to hold out onto that as long as we can get away with. But when there's an item in the basement, we tend to just pretend it doesn't exist until we're forced to.
Yeah, the search space is much bigger in glitch modes because we have Ganon's Tower access, and items can logically be filled in that dungeon as well as all the others.
Yeah, no junk fill in Ganon's Tower. It's going to be a very high density play as soon as people get access to the wings of GT. So you get that hammer and hookshot, or you get the cane and fire rod. And speaking of the hookshot, we got one on the Desert Torch. Very good item to find early. Hookshot is nice because you can get up Hera faster. You can get up Hera even when you don't have the big key. Logic doesn't know you can do that yet, but we still do it because it's really good.
300 rupees are in Spectacle Rock Cave.
He's going to get them. He hasn't done Zora yet.
Yeah.
I'm a little sad he doesn't do the new bomb clip, but that's okay.
Sure. Yeah, with the launch of the Hybrid Major Glitches tournament, runners looked for other places that we can go through diagonal walls, and Spectacle Rock is no exception. At the entrance of the viewpoint cave, there's a diagonal wall that we can clip through and be transported to the entry cave.
Yeah, it's basically a way that we feel a little better about not being able to hover.
That's right. Now, why do we start with boots in this mode? Is that because there are items behind pits and we have to hover to get them?
Of course. I mean, everybody knows that there's only one person in this community. No, okay. So the boots are here because a lot of the clips use them. You can see otherTom is trying to set up a spin speed. Unfortunately, just not getting it today. Going for a different method that also uses boots. Both of those will get you out of bounds very consistently compared to non-boots methods. So when people were racing this without boots, a huge advantage would be given to whoever found the boots first. So boots were placed in the pool, then somebody just finds them and they get 10 minutes for free. So we just give people boots. And this has been going on since, you tell me how long this has been, definitely at least 2018. Before open boots was a thing, before casual boots, we were doing overworld glitches and telling people, you should play this mode because you start with boots. And now we have to find other ways to convince people to play this mode.
This is true.
Turns out it's just fun.
That's right. So, yeah, I'm sorry. It is fun.
It's really
fun. If you love breaking the game, as it were, you'll like glitch modes. And you know, A Link to the Past is a really resilient game. It's not breakable, but the thing is, it's really fun to move Link around the screen, and the game is very resilient and has a bunch of just funny ways that we can move around.
It's surprisingly hard to crash the game. Like, we can do so much to this game. You're not even seeing the first and last of it in this mode. There's a lot of glitches we ban that are also fun to play with. We might be seeing that next year if we do a no logic tournament. But for now, we get to see mostly just the out of bounds and the terrain math that the game does to, you know, check that you're in bounds and stuff. We can take advantage of that. I love that little push that Furaime did to set up the block. That was cool.
Yeah, that was really neat.
otherTom doesn't get to do that because he doesn't have the hook shot yet.
Yeah, and the hook shot is also a very good item in these modes because it gives you hook speed. And like you were talking about before, we want to arm spin speed to allow Link to quickly clip over diagonals. And hook speed is just it's a different way, but it can be a lot easier and faster.
Yeah, it's easier to hit two buttons. Dash. Easier to hit two buttons at the same time than to hit one button and another one on the next frame for most people.
Mm-hmm. And question in chat, can you complete these randomizers without glitches? It's extremely unlikely.
So not this mode. Mm-hmm. There are modes you can play. They can just roll like what most people play is a no glitches logic, where you can do minor glitches, but you're not expected to. This is major glitches logic, where you're expected and required and allowed to do major glitches. So we have an interesting scenario because we got otherTom and Furaime going the same place, but one of them has Zora money and the other one doesn't.
Oh yeah. Tom has 300 from Spectacle Rock. He has 100 from the Graveyard Ledge, and more that I did not see. He's got Houlihan rupees.
He's rich. Nice hook speed. We can also use the boots to go fast. I don't know if you knew that. Turns out they're just a really good item.
And Tom finds a very kind of a lime green Ice Rod Cave?
Ice Rod Cave is... Ice Palace is either beautiful or disgusting.
It is very chartreuse.
There's no in between. So both runners armed a glitch called Water Walk by dashing near pit. So they can use that to skip the flippers. This is also in Logic. Actually, kind of recently in Logic. I think in the 2019 tournament, it hadn't been added yet.
I think that... Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Furaime does not care about Zora Ledge, which is interesting because he might come back with Zora, but if he doesn't have a water walk, he's gonna have to splash delete to get that item. Whereas otherTom could clip to it with the water walk. And of course,
Right.
otherTom can also do Zora. It is just a heart piece though, so it's not going to be an issue. If Furaime is gonna do an old method, is this old DMA?
Yeah. So, yeah. Furaime has commented before about feeling so rusty in glitch modes. And yeah, he hasn't perhaps practiced the newer methods. So he performed an upward teleport that wraps Link around the screen. So when Link transitions, he's on a higher screen than he should be. So it puts him on Death Mountain. And he has to correct the camera after that before he can enter the cave. Otherwise, there will be an extremely long transition that takes up to 2 minutes.
Speaking of unusual DMAs, can we talk about what otherTom is doing?
This is a DMA, but it's on the wrong side of the world.
Yeah, so where's he going? He's going up. But he's going up on the other side and going around and doing scrolly scroll.
Scrolly
then he
scroll,
goes this way, and then he goes down, and he's in, I believe this takes you to the Spiral Cave, am I correct?
Most likely. Yep, there it goes. This transition should take him to Spiral Cave.
I don't know how to do this, but it looks cool every time.
Yeah.
So people are asking.
Yeah.
People are asking about major and minor glitches. When we have kind of tiers of glitches we define in A Link to the Past because it's so broken, we can, break it in so many ways that it's not fun to play. We can break it in ways that we have to make the game harder in other ways by disabling the logic and stuff. So we kind of separate glitches between things that you can do without, like in normal gameplay, just normal competitive modes. There are some little things you can do, like jump across gaps with a bomb, or swim without the flippers. Those are low impact glitches. They only give you access to a little bit. We're doing a kind of a tier higher than that, where we're doing a lot of out of bounds that ignores a lot more of the game's requirements, but still have to play the game. So you're still going through the dungeons and fighting the bosses. You're just doing them in a different order than you might be doing them in the normal game.
Right, and to complete one of these major glitches seeds, we don't always need as many items as are required in the no glitches item fill. So we have that going for us.
A few things we can cut out with this mode, and in fact, Hybrid specifically, compared to overworld glitches, reduces items you need for Swamp Palace in particular. You can now skip the hammer and the mirror for Swamp. If you really wanted to, you could skip the Moon Pearl for just about every location. But we don't because it's slow. But you could.
That's right. So while the rule set kind of matches the restricted major glitches rule set of A Link to the Past speedrunning, the hybrid major glitches race mode is really raceable in the sense that the Moon Pearl is available without having to without having to do a lot of bunny navigation, and no bunny clipping is required. In other words, we have boots as Link. We can dash and clip around the world, but once we are a rabbit, we cannot do dash clipping anymore. So this mode places Moon Pearl in locations that are much more accessible to us.
Yeah, it's called hybrid because there's a mode called major glitches that does require those things, and it's it can be fun in small doses. It's really awful to race. Just by that same logic of the person who finds the boots first wins, the person who finds the Moon Pearl first in a major glitches seed gets 10 minutes for free. It's just not great for racing in general.
Yeah, and shoutouts to Malmo for developing this combination.
Yeah, there's a lot of demand for it coming from people who learned overworld glitches but had done the speedrun that corresponds to this, that allows these underworld clips, and they're like, well, I want to play this, but I also want to do the clips in the underworld because that's what the speedrun does. And But I don't want to do the 1-frame clips as a bunny because the speedrun doesn't do that. And the speedrun is reasonable. It wants to go fast. So you get the moon pearl early. So we're like, well, let's have a mode where you can still get the moon pearl early, but do all these fun things and have the fun logic in the dungeons. And it turned out to be really popular and really fun.
And another thing that the major glitches logic would expect us to do is to use a bottle instead of a pearl, because we can fake flute. In other words, use a dark world flute and get into a super bunny state that allows us to become Link state. But that is not something that we are required to do in hybrid.
Yeah, back to our runners. We got otherTom finally visiting Kakariko. It's a common play to put this off because you want to find things that make Kakariko better, mostly by being able to clear more of it on your first trip. The same goes for Desert Palace. Also worth noting that both of them have been in a lot of places and still not found that moon pearl. There's still a lot of places it can be. Eastern Palace is an obvious one. We have the bow and the lamp. We also have the Master Sword and lamp. And there is something that can happen, and that is the moon pearl can still be placed on Pyramid Ledge and require Aghanim. And when we run into that, we don't actually fight Aghanim. We find other ways to get there that are out of logic. But it is a thing that can happen.
For example, that fake flute that I mentioned is a technique that we are allowed to use, but we don't often see it in races.
Yeah, we use it when the alternative is slower. Like if you're expected to use a mirror to clip off the mountain, that's extremely slow. It's faster to just drink a potion on its screen transition and instantly go to 3 in the dark world, and bam, you're in Village of Outcasts and you can open chests with glitches.
I think this escape play is pretty interesting from Furaime, since he can clear every dungeon in the light world. It's a bit surprising.
They're pendants.
Okay, fair points.
This is a pendant too. You got 3 pendants available to you. You got to choose one of them, right?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
And he has the lamp, and the lamp might be leading him towards Dark Cross if he finds a key.
And there are 6 items in escape. It's likely we can get them all, but the key might be in the back. We're not sure. And like in no glitches modes, it's a matter of finding the glove. There's no major glitches involved in escape.
It really is just... There is a major glitch that you can use to route the escape with the Pyramid Ferry. So a lot of people will put it off waiting for the mirror, which allows you to do that. Route those things together. You get to that point in the game where you're starting to think about Pendant Eastern and like Aghanim and just other bad things, and think, oh, maybe just go to the escape and see if it's just sitting in the uncle the whole time. Furaime did not find a small key in the first chest. There could still be one in Dark Cross, but if there isn't one there, he doesn't really have a good way to get to the back of escape without either finding a glove or spending keys he's not really supposed to spend in Hera by clipping to the escape. I don't think people are going to do that. Usually you do that to steal a key, not to spend one. otherTom is amassing more wealth as we speak.
Yeah, and there is money in the back of in Zelda's cell, so Furaime now has Zora money.
Yeah, there's nothing that's currently in logic except that Pyramid Ledge that the fake flute would get us to. So we're not likely to see that just yet until we find something like the mirror. I'm surprised at how little direction we're getting. Actually, you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking pod. Are you thinking pod?
Right. So how can we get into pod?
Hopefully one of the runners will show us soon, because I do think that that's what the logic is pointing us to.
Yeah, with lamp and bow, we have logical access to most locations.
Yeah, you might be wondering, how are we getting to Pod without a moon pearl? You have to walk there. There's a monkey that waits for you, and if you're not human, he won't be there. So,
Can't
what
talk
are we
to you.
gonna do? What are we gonna do? We'll see. Hopefully soon, because Furaime is really close to it.
I know. Yeah,
There he
this
is.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
There you go.
Another way of doing this is to, of course, get the item and then just fall down to this location.
Yeah,
but yeah,
that
this
would-
is fast.
He doesn't need the money, because, I mean, what are you gonna do? Pay Kiki? We're not paying Kiki. We're skipping Kiki. We're in Pod
That's
now.
right. Right. This is Kiki Skip, which we see at the beginning of the all dungeon speedrun. And all of the dungeons, all of the underworld is connected. It just so happens that Spectacle Rock is adjacent to Palace of Darkness. It's actually below it, even though Spectacle Rock is at the bottom of the map. And that's because when we go down, we sort of map wrap, because Pod is at the very top.
Yeah, kind of the similar thing that happens on overworld screens when you see people jumping off the mountain and they land on top and they're in Hera. Like, the same thing is happening here in a way, with the caveat that we're also still in the cave. So we retain the properties of the cave, one of those being that we have a key counter that doesn't display. And the way the game knows not to display a key counter is to give you 255 keys. And those are real keys we can spend, so we open a door for free before going in as Pod. One thing we don't want to do is open chests when we're in that state, because if we find a Pod key, it is not a Pod key anymore. It is a cave key, and it's gone forever.
Right. We have to be careful with our keys in this mode. The game design assumes that we know certain rules, and that one rule is do not collect keys while you're in cave state. So we do not break this rule. Otherwise, we can get into a position where we are more or less soft locked with this rule set.
Mm-hmm. And there is a possibility to have the logic expect you to just walk around Pod and opening doors, and the logic doesn't expect you to do that because it's boring. And then, of course, Helmasaur has a door on the way to it too, and you can't actually reach it in this state because you've despawned everything. So we just don't expect you to open doors in cave state.
By the way, I love all the death warping that Furaime has been setting up in the seed.
Yeah, that's how you know.
We're already seeing him take spike damage.
That's how you know we're going to find a mirror or a fairy in one of these chests, right?
Well,
We
or a
haven't
hammer?
found anything yet.
No.
You gotta find something. Look at that.
He gets the shock death.
It's almost like a sink and quit sort of thing.
Yeah.
Well, of course, Pod is still the same key logic because of this whole we don't expect you to open doors thing. So all of the stuff is going to be in the back. And we kind of expect it to be because the game did give us bow and lamp, and that's most of what's locked behind the bow and the lamp is in the back. But maybe not so much the bow, but definitely the lamp.
Yeah, this is a good play. There are a lot of items here. Personally, I wouldn't do it just because I would go for completable dungeons versus non-completable dungeons or uncompletable. But I do like this. Beach the round.
OtherTom is thinking of that death warp too. It's a lot easier to get back to Pod in this mode than it is in open, because you can't just clip there. You have to walk through the maze every time, and that's slow. This one you can just skip Kiki every time.
Yeah, this is true. This is true.
I tend to value the Pod dips a little bit more than in other modes.
Right, that makes a lot of sense because we do not have to take an overworld route through a hedge maze,
So Furaime opened Harmless Hellway, and it was a key. And I know exactly why he did that. Because if you are the kind of person who uses your key display to know whether Harmless Hellway is a key, it is going to lie to you in this mode because you did open an extra door. Now, you're going to expect to see 2 up there, and 2 means that there's an item there. but actually you have an extra key because you stole one from the cave. So you actually want to look for 3.
Right.
Quake is not progression yet.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Pearl
And
is
there it
in
is.
pod. Welcome to Hybrid Major Glitches. We got an
Wow.
interesting seed. And Tom is going to find that too. He's a little bit behind. What did he do that Furaime didn't do besides Hobo? A little bit here and there, like Zora and Zora Ledge isn't done. otherTom has been a little bit more thorough in his routing.
Yeah, Tom has been slowed down a little bit by spin speeds and lack of hookshot toward the beginning of the run.
That's true. Hookshot speeds things up a lot. This is a super jump setup. So Furaime has clipped off the mountain in a screen wrap state, and this is going to allow him to jump all the way to Swamp.
He was a little too far to the right, so he's
Yeah.
adjusting to the left a little bit.
He got bailed out by splashing in water, which is good.
Oh yeah, that's
Because
right.
you can soft lock there, but
it repositions, him in a way that he can try again.
So he's gonna fix his camera in here because dungeons fix your camera, so you can walk in here and still be fixed.
It's always incredible to see this jump that takes us from the very top of the map to the very bottom.
Yeah. And it's just so physical. Like, you see him just fall 8 times. It's like he's literally skydiving off the mountain.
Yeah.
One of the guides even calls it Death Mountain skydiving, which I'm a little sad that that name didn't catch on.
Yeah, I like it. We could still use it.
Still use it. There's a certain crowd that also calls it voiding out because that runner named Void Soul did it like 8 times in a race, but that's a whole nother story.
So in Hype Cave, looks like there's no progression except for a shovel. Hype Cave is still a dense location, still a desirable place to search for items.
Shovel is awkward here because we don't have the mirror.
Yeah.
Like, when are we going to go back to that?
Right,
I guess when we do desert, but desert dependent. Hard to justify that.
Yeah, maybe if we can combine it with a checkerboard cave check or something like that. You know, checkerboard cave is near the grove. It's just an overworld glitch away. And so we're about to mire clip, so we'll see some flashing for a moment. It's some messed up rain graphics.
The game expects you to use the mirror transition from the portal to get in there, so when you don't, you have a the rain just doesn't load in properly. otherTom is choosing to walk back rather than death warp. Can't blame him being on blue mail and all these hearts.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Feels bad.
Yeah, I don't know what's faster personally, but this is just my preferred.
There's definitely a threshold between death warping on the spike versus death warping on the Bari, depending on your mail.
Yeah.
Furaime is going to soft lock if he teleports here.
Yeah, I don't know why he's on the second. We use a rule of 3s quite often, where the third bump is the one we want to teleport from, usually.
Sorry, Furaime.
Yeah, that's a bummer, but, you know, it's... we can take some other route around the Dark World.
Yeah, he worked hard to get here, but he can get back just by coming from north to south. I think he was hoping to find a hammer in Hype Cave, and at this point he already hasn't found that, so it's not really that big a deal. So he's just going to fix his camera and kind of descend the mountain, well, what I would consider the normal way, which is to jump off by clipping out and then bonk and set up this kind of funny auto-walk state where you just walk and ignore collision for a few seconds, and that's going to get him off the mountain. Hook speed clip, bonk up, and then
and this is the classic DMD, which we see in the All Dungeon speedrun. Death Mountain Descent. So Furaime is going to Skull Woods. And it's not clearable, but it's a good overworld, essentially. We might
Not
as well
just
clear it.
that, like Furaime is running out of things to do. Like because Janus Tower is still mostly closed. There's a bunch of pendant dungeons. Thieves Town is fine, but there's no hammer. I think at this point he can't really be too picky about where he goes. He found the flippers somewhere, and I've missed where. The flippers are an interesting because Swamp Palace is in logic. Am I right about that?
Well, how can you say that? We don't have the mirror.
We don't have the mirror, we don't have the hammer. How could Swamp Palace be in logic? We have the Meyer medallion, and we have the flippers and the hookshot. And turns out that with the right setup, you can do all of Swamp with just those items by clipping from Meyer and Hera to Swamp repeatedly, first to flood the waterway and then to actually go through the dungeon. And we find Glove in Skull Woods. That is a required item. There are 2 of them. We only need 1, but it is a good thing to find early.
Yeah, so what you're saying is we can enter Misery Mire, clip into Tower of Hera, and from there clip into Swamp Palace. And then we have Swamp Palace access.
Yes. I think the first thing you do is you'd open the doors using the extra Meyer key that the logic expects you to not spend in the Ruby basement. And then you would also have to come back at some point to flood that middle part. So when you clip into Swamp, you actually land on the pegs, the hammer pegs, and you can choose to go left or right from there. And you can go to the left to unlock doors, and you can go to the right to flood it. Unfortunately, that does require 2 trips because you can't go one way and then the other without the hammer. But that place will stay flooded the whole game. So once you have done that, you have removed the hammer requirement for Swamp and no longer need that item. As far as the mirror goes, you can keep the front part flooded by flooding the dam and then saving and quitting to Hera, and it'll stay flooded as long as you don't do an overworld screen transition. So you can swim out and in again to correct your dungeon ID and then do all of Swamp. It gets complicated.
Yeah, it's so funny how complicated Swamp Palace is.
I had to write a whole guide just for doing Swamp in this mode. It's insane.
Yeah, and it's really helpful for an initial understanding.
So otherTom is doing Hookshot Cave, but he doesn't have a glove. So he has to do this screen wrap glitch, kind of similar to Heraclip. You're going to jump off the bottom and land on the top, and you're in Hookshot Cave in the back. Furaime's not going to have to do that when he goes, because he has a glove. It's going to give him a little bit of a speed boost.
Oh my gosh. Tom was knocked down.
How did he do that?
I don't know. Obviously, it's an altitude glitch where for some reason the game thinks that the bomb explosion is much higher than it is, and it always hits Link downwards when that happens.
I'm trying to think of where his last underworld location was that had sprites. Because that's what would have set it. It's interesting. Sometimes bosses will do that, but he hasn't fought any bosses that set that altitude. Armos and Mothula are the ones that I know of. We got bombos for TR. We're not going to use that because we can clip in through the middle or through the back. Nice God Pixel from Furaime. Going through Thieves Town. Come to the conclusion at this point the hammer is probably not anywhere good, so I'm just going to do this now.
Right, yeah. And now we have blocky water after a DMD. The tile stat is still Death Mountain. And was that the Bombos medallion? There was a medallion in there. Or maybe it was either. Okay.
Yeah, from Thieves Town for Furaime is irrelevant because Quake is the only one we care about in this mode. I mean, it can logically require Bombos. It's also a pendant, so we don't care. Bombos can be good for Ice Palace as a weapon. We find that we'll be thinking more about Ice than TR. It is worth noting that we do have logical entry into Ice Palace in this mode as well. There is a clip you can do in the first room that skips the freeze-or, and that lets you get in without fire. Most people will avoid that because you still need the fire to kill Cold Stare. And as I say that, we find the fire rod in Bline's cell.
Okay.
I haven't been counting items, but I saw 2 in Thieves Town. I don't know if there's an item in the big chest or not.
I'm not sure.
I wonder if Tom skipped Skull Woods, because he's going straight into Village. He might miss out on that glove, which could be pretty bad for him if it's, if there's something good in Ice Palace and he has to go in there.
It's a nice fight for Furaime. And we have a mushroom. Another fetch quest for the light world.
Great.
We don't really want to deal with.
Yeah, no good way to get that either. He does have a flute, but he doesn't have a good way to activate it because he's in the dark world. Now, we've already shown you don't need a flute in this game because you can just clip the mire. So when you get it this late, it's not convenient to activate. You're just not going to do it.
Yeah, that's right. I wanted to mention earlier that it is just an item for convenience sake. There's no logic behind it.
And Furaime wrapping up his loose ends with that dig game that he missed out on by not clipping out of Mire. So where does he go next?
Sanctuary. That's interesting.
Back of Escape.
Could it be my...
Yeah, he got the glove, didn't have a key in Dark Cross, so there's going to be a key here, so it's at most 2 items. I didn't see if there was a map or not. I would think Hookshot Cave for him next. It's very dense, and there isn't much left. And the glove makes it about as fast as it's ever going to get. I think we've seen from otherTom that there is nothing good there, but there is a sword, and he knows that's a key, so he's going to save and quit out.
I admire that restraint.
Yeah, one thing that key could have done for him is allow him to open the Hera basement chest, and then set up a key to steal from Key Rat. But that's slow, so he's probably just going to go for Mire, because Mire is just going to be faster than anything he's ever going to do. Unfortunately, he's trying to go to King's Tomb. Did not quite make it.
Yeah.
He's rerouting, because he missed King's Tomb. He's going to turn in that mushroom, arming a water walk here so he can get there faster. It doesn't look like he got it, but he has the flippers, so it doesn't matter.
Yes, this is true. He didn't get the water walk, but because he has the flippers, he's just swimming.
Be a fast-thinking reroute. It can, when you fail a clip, it can make you just want to save and quit, which is usually the smart thing to do because you can hard lock if you mess up. But in that case, it was, that's Bombos. Very good.
Wow.
Bombos doesn't matter as much now that we have Fire Rod, but it's still nice to have.
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't really do anything logically until we find like Kane for TR, but even then, it still doesn't really matter for TR. It's mostly just something nice to have if you didn't get the Fire Rod. Yeah, I was a little more excited about it than I should have been because we did get the Fire Rod.
We did, yeah.
otherTom's going to get that too here, just in a second.
It really is giving us another hint that Ice Palace is in logic, which, it's getting pretty interesting right now. We have Swamp Palace in logic.
I wouldn't put too much... Yeah. I wouldn't put too much weight on Ice Palace, just because the Medallion and Fire Rod currently only lock one thing in Ice Palace, and that is Freeze or Chest. The only other thing they lock in Ice is Cold Stare, and we need the hammer for that.
Right, and what you're saying is we don't need the fire source, the firepower to unlock the dungeon.
No, you can skip right past that first Freezor. It's actually terrible, but it's fun to do, and also fast, so we'll do it anyway, even when we have fire, just because it's faster to get to the room below where you'd normally drop down to the 2 Stalfos room. I think Furaime is going to Oh yeah, he's just doing an older para clip. He's gonna go to Hookshot Cave most likely.
And fun fact, Ice Clip is one of the first underworld clips I learned as a one-frame technique because it was in the All Dungeons tutorial by Josh RTA.
Oh.
And at that point, bomb clips had not been discovered yet. So the very slow first room clip was demonstrated, and as a beginner to major glitches, I was thinking, is this really faster?
I'm questioning it. Of all of the 4 clips you could have learned, that's the one you chose because it's the one that doesn't skip anything. It just gets you there faster.
Well, it's one of the first, because we have only 4. So
yeah.
The tutorial demonstrated that, as well as Kiki Skip, as well as Meyer to Hera,
I imagine
which
they're the
is
same,
not
right?
not that hard. I beg your pardon?
It depends on if they had like citrus at the time,
And
because those are
they
easier.
did not, so it was
no.
still harder than it is today.
Oof. Yeah, there's a reason this category, well, I keep saying this as if this were all dungeons, but this rule set picked up popularity around the time the bomb clips were discovered, because the thing that makes it tedious for people to learn was essentially eliminated from the run and added back in this year, but let's not talk about that. And we kind of did a similar thing with the randomizer by taking out the 1-frame clips and mostly just letting people go fast the whole time, and people like going fast in this game.
So Furaime is in Turtle Rock. You mentioned Hookshot Cave earlier, but yeah, Turtle Rock is right next door. It's a ledge clip away.
Yeah.
So now Furaime will be searching a couple of items here.
He has effectively orphaned Catfish. We know it's just 10 arrows, but he doesn't, so that might come back to haunt him as well. And he doesn't have the cane here, so he can only go a little bit of ways each direction. There is a clip that can get you into Laser Bridge too, but it's not in logic, so he's not going to go in there looking for a cane. The only reason you'd go in there without the cane is if you're hoping to find something else that might give you an edge in the race. So Furaime found the fire rod in Thieves Town, but went to Dig Game from there because he had orphaned it, making it not possible to actually get Skullwoods.
Mm-hmm.
So otherTom gets a more efficient route through Skullwoods because he gets to get back to front.
Exactly, and only 1 dip.
Yeah. That's a little bit of an advantage to otherTom's routing, and I guess that soft lock that Furaime got punished him slightly by making him go back to that chest that he could get back up, but it's slow, so he just chose not to. We don't find much of worth in Turtle Rock. Did we find the big key? I don't think we did. So he's going to have to go back in the front to find the big key if he decides to do the green pendant, but otherwise he's probably just going to put this off forever because it's, kind of a sunk cost at this point. So this is a play somewhere.
Yeah.
He's either jumping off the mountain or is he doing GT? Yeah,
GT is going right.
There's very little left. Like, I would go to Swamp personally, but I can see why you would choose not to, because missing these items does slow you down considerably. It's not really efficient to do it now. If you find the mirror or the hammer here, you speed up your Swamp dip considerably.
Yeah, I like this play, but
yeah, he's like, I have 1 bomb. Get your bombs.
Yeah.
It's good.
I didn't notice that.
Good fast thinking again. Both items were in the front of Skullwoods, which is probably why Furaime said, no, do it later, because there's no value to going back here until go mode. Unless the big key was in the back. I wasn't paying attention enough to know that.
Not sure.
Yeah.
So we've got what looks like to be another Death Mountain super drop on Furaime's side.
This might be an Ice Palace play, or just going to Pyramid, and then going to Catfish from Pyramid. Kind of like I hate to call this a no glitches route because of what he's doing right now, but from here it's going to be a pretty standard, like, no glitches, Pyramid to Catfish route if he decides to not go to Ice from here. You can also go to Mire. That's a possibility. You can go to Mire and unlock doors in Swamp. Kind of taking care of a chore that he knows he has to do eventually, which I think is what he's doing because of the way he's going.
And incidentally, the enemies in front of Swamp Palace are pretty frustrating if you don't know how to deal with them. But coming out of Swamp Palace, if you just go down to the left and activate hook speed, you can always get around them.
It's a really neat trick that I learned that for the speedrun as well. Like, it doesn't seem like it'll work, but you can just hold down left and hook. Okay, otherTom is showing us a different way to get here, which is a bomb clip. He hasn't done Hype Cave yet. If you clip into here with a normal teleport, and then you can clip out with a bomb. This bomb clip is very similar to the ones we use in the underworld, and it skips the super jump. It's faster. So it's nice newer tech to learn. I think Furaime probably knows that from the tournament that he ran last year or the year before. I don't know if that bomb clip even was known at the time.
Right. So the bomb clip just incidentally came out of a search that I was doing for how to get to Ganon's Tower. Actually, to Turtle Rock. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So as soon as I found that one, it was either Tajso or Glan who found all the other uses of it in the overworld, and so we brought it into all dungeons.
Yeah, I still use that to this day. It's a great clip for Randomizer because if you have the glove, it's all you need to get to the south. Funny enough that the newest route of the speedrun uses the super jump. It kind of goes back and forth.
Yeah, that is pretty funny. All right, so we're in Mire. Like you said before, we may be required to use our small keys that we collect in Misery Mire to open up doors in Swamp Palace. So we are expected to avoid that useless rupee room.
And if you're intimately familiar with the logic of this mode, you'd be counting your keys right now because you're required by logic to have 3 keys to enter Swamp through Mire. So if one of the keys is on Vitreous, then Swamp is cane locked. As wacky as that sounds. And we did find that, I see, the flippers were in Mire Shed, so sort of dungeons next door in a way, like the doormat key, except it's for the wrong dungeon.
Right. Oh no, the torch.
Fine. You can just... Oh!
Oh no!
No, dude.
The left torch. All right. Furaime could have got it, but he just
knows
didn't
that
do it.
He got it,
okay, he just got it, yeah.
otherTom's doing King's Tomb. He got it this time, so he get to see this that Furaime missed the first time he tried.
Fire rod clipping is a minor glitch, but it's not really required here.
It's not often you...
What's that?
I was just saying it's not often you see the cutscene in that room.
Yeah.
I'm finding the otherTom is doing a lot of these kind of thoroughness checks, and they're not really paying off as much as he might hope. That is a book.
Oh yeah. And are we on our way to shovel spot here?
Yeah, he's really clearing up his overworld. He does not want to get... I mean, I think this is sort of a qualifier play. This is... Your goal is to just get a good time rather than trying to be the best. Trying to quick swap to shovel is kind of frustrating. You have to press both buttons at the same time. Alright, we got the big key. Yeah. I think we're still on 2 keys, so unless we find another small key, we're still cane locked. Of course, all of that is only true if you can't just walk into the front door of Swamp with the mirror and the hammer and the small key. But we actually don't have any of those things right now, so I'm just assuming that Swamp is Mire locked until otherwise proven. And we did find the third key, so the cane can be in Swamp now. I really hope we get to see Tom and Furaime converge in Swamp, because that's kind of what it looks like they're doing.
Right. Yeah, we might have a bottleneck here. Because like I was thinking before, it was starting to look like we would have a hammer in a hammerlock dungeon, or commonly known as hammerlock dungeon.
otherTom is... I don't know that queue with the grass up. It makes me nervous when I see that.
Oh, I actually didn't catch that. Did he line up at the top?
No, I always cut the grass because I use a cut grass queue, and he didn't cut the grass, and it made me confused. Like, how does he know where to go? How does he know where to put that bomb?
It may be an ear cue or something like that. That's what I would use.
An ear cue? Oh, like Link's ear. I thought you meant like audio cue. Very confused. That would be some Galaxy Brain player. Here's a bomb clip that gets you into Swamp from Hera. Even though the game, as far as the game is concerned, we're actually still in Misery Mire. What is he doing? Oh, he's resetting his pots because he uses the pot to line up the bomb clip. Probably doesn't know the backup. It's a little time loss. otherTom is probably going to show us the dash clip, which is a newer method that Yuzuhara developed. It's a sort of hybrid one-frame clip where you do a little bit of dashing and a little bit of select buffering and sword buffering, and some people find it easier than the bomb clip. You'll see a lot of the newer runners using that method, and the older runners using the bomb clip, and the really old runners using the sword clip.
Right. And I don't know if anyone uses the citrus clip, but well, citrus is not an option here, is it? But
No.
maybe an old one
clip.
frame clip. Yeah.
Maybe if like Andy was in this, he would.
Yeah.
He I know he does that in his speed runs.
Right. There you go.
He's been doing this for years, so that's just what he knows.
Right. All right. So Furaime has a key. But that's good. You always want a key once you get to this floor, so you can unlock the front.
I'm concerned about otherTom's health. So we've shown that there's no key in the front. So this was hard required to go through Mire or Hera to get here. Of course, logically required to go through Mire.
So,
is this Ice Palace? No, this is Pyramid Catfish.
Yeah,
this is good routing.
I was thinking.
Yeah. Because you're going through Mire Underworld to get to an overworld location, which is kind of neat routing you only see in like entrance rando.
Yeah, it is neat.
Oh, this is kind of a different way to get across. Just clip into the river. You might have a little easier time with a sword out if you did this.
I guess so. I haven't tried that kind of... Oh, yeah, that
it's
kind.
Easier with the sword out. There's a different method you can use on the other side that we might see.
Furaime was going for something where you have to kind of switch to up, and I don't know if he was doing that in time.
It looked hard, whatever he was doing.
Well, it's just like a spin speed clip, except it's the other way. But for some reason, you have to move the control pad. It's just back to up, I believe.
So he's not doing Catfish. I mean, Catfish is slow, but Catfish is pretty dead to him. I think if he stays there, if he stays away forever, he's in good shape. If he tries to route it in later because he's, finding something that's in a bad location, that could bite him because it is going to be really slow to get back there. So now that he has open Mire, or open Swamp through Mire, he can safely use this key here and you do Hera Basement, which is a pretty good meta play because your opponents are probably not going to do this as early as you did.
Yeah, and it reminded me, since Tom just found the book, Furaime's in position to check that as well.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, the Ether Tablet. Bombo's Tablet is also right for Furaime because he hasn't done the shovel yet. otherTom is going to have a little harder time getting that routed in.
Yeah. Furaime gets a coffee break.
I'm always disappointed to find 3 keys in Mire when you're looking for a cane. Like, you really want to be able to use that knowledge. And the game's like, nope, you can just go into Swamp looking for a cane.
Yeah, makes sense.
He did not... Yeah, because he would have had to walk out. That's... Yeah. It might actually be faster to Hera clip again to do Ether Tablet.
Yeah,
Thinking
maybe.
really hard on that select and that save and quit menu.
Yeah.
Not a lot of good options left. I think Swamp, I would still be lining Swamp if it were me, but I just love Swamp in this mode, so that's my weakness. If you ever play against me, you'll know that I did Swamp early.
Yeah. This is true. Yeah, so Furaime knows there's a number of overworld locations that he has access to.
We might get to see the cool hot new Dash Citrus clip here. otherTom has really optimized this clip in practice, so it might go really fast. Look at that.
Wow.
So smooth. He spent a lot of time on this when he was timing it, and he got it down to like 10-second room or something. It was insane.
So what just happened there is Tom clipped a pixel to the left by doing a diagonal and going back down. Then he charged the dash. And then as soon as the dash began, Link started to clip to the left after a couple of frames. And then it's just a couple more pixels up left to get into position to teleport. Now, Tom's buffer after the dash was perfect. So it was like a perfect 34 or 32 count of frames.
He's really good at that. He's probably one of the fastest ones in this tournament at that clip, and it's because he put the time into practicing it. And he's showing the other method to get across the hammer pegs. This is called River Fought, funny auto walk thing. Kind of similar to getting off the mountain. You hit a transition in a certain way, and they'll just move you automatically a certain amount of time.
Yeah, I want to say that was a find by Blank 42 pretty recently. It's a faster way we have of getting past the golden guards in rain state at the beginning of the game.
Very nice.
That was a nice.
That was a really nice Lambo. And there was an item there.
Yeah, I didn't realize whether desert was cleared or not. So nice to find the answer to that.
Yeah,
so that's not the solution to the seed.
No, and actually, unfortunately, Ped could be only hammer. So the pendants don't have a lot of value. We're still looking for the cane from Mire.
Right. Yeah, I don't think we've seen Eastern Palace yet. Could Furaime be on his way there?
Yeah, this is looking like it. You know, Hobo. He's doing the same thing at Hobo.
Yeah, the same issue.
Yeah, and just coming to the same conclusion that holding your sword out is easier. He doesn't have to do the fancy fake flipper. He has the flipper, so you can just go into the water. People are asking why they skip chest and swamp. It's kind of the same reason they skip them in pod. It's a little less catastrophic if you pick up specifically the swamp big key. Your swamp big key is no longer a swamp big key. It's a Mire big key. So if you wanted to open the swamp big chest, you'd have to clip in again from Mire and go the other way, and that's really slow, and nobody's ever going to do that. So you skip this chest to avoid orphaning that particular check. It's a pretty safe gamble to open them if you think, like, I might find the cane or the hammer here. But if you don't, you're in trouble if there's something in the big chest. Unfortunately,
if you already have a big key from Mire, then getting another big key, it just eats it. It doesn't do anything for you.
Yeah, it's I always say, like, I like that this is called hybrid because we hybridize dungeons. like breed them together, combining these keys, opening doors with other keys. Swamp and Mire and Hera are just one big dungeon as far as the game is concerned. And all the other rooms too, but those are the ones we can get to with clips, so. Yeah, both runners are just kind of doing the bad locations now, because that's really all that's left.
Wow.
Mitts.
Mitts are available at Ether Tablet.
That's really not something you want to see in this mode.
No. No, in glitched modes, we never like to see the mitts, because what do they do for us except give us access to the smith and the purple chest?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, there are, of course, earlier game locations that are accessed with mitts. If you don't have the Moon Pearl, Ice Palace can be accessed with mitts, but also with the flippers, so it's kind of moot at this point. We have the flippers. And it's not like we wanted to go there either. But yeah, they are just retracing each other's steps. Furaime is forging ahead in Eastern Palace. So if there's something here, he's in the lead, but there's not, then we kind of expect otherTom to probably go here too at some point. And conclude that the hammer or the cane are just in swamp. Or in ice, or somewhere bad.
Yeah, well, Tom has the mitts. I wonder, yeah, I don't know. Don't know what he's going to do. Okay. Nope, I still don't know.
Tom, this is bombs. Is he just buying bombs? No. He has the mitts. He's going to ice.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Don't need to go there from the dark world.
No, I know.
We can get there a normal way.
It's a common thing when you play these modes. You just start thinking of the glitches, and you forget that you can just swim to ice sometimes and lift a rock, and you're in. Oh, I'd forgotten how disgusting his ice palace was. So he's doing a really smart thing here. No, Tom. He was gonna do a really smart thing of stealing that key, but no, he's just gonna go forward. You could steal that key and use it as an extra key to not get locked in the hammerlock side, but
right.
It's slightly undervalued with not having the cane for icebreaker, so I can see why he's skipping that.
Yeah, makes sense.
And he has one anyway. He got one here, so that's fine.
Yeah, not only could we have a gross hammer in Ice Palace, we could have an extra gross double dip Ice Palace for the hammer.
Yeah. Trying to think of what it could give us. Like the cane, maybe?
Yeah, that would be
Mirror.
great. Turtle Rock.
Mirror for Pyramid Fairy, perhaps.
Right, Furaime goes a bit off script in Eastern and only receives a green rupee as a reward.
We're back to maybe Tom is in the lead now because it's just uncertain. We don't know where the item is. I was confused at how he was killing red Baris, but he's not. And the pigs are blue? Wait, am I crazy? Are those pigs always blue?
I'm just thinking. I should be commentating, but I'm just thinking because I don't actually know the answer.
Nice, running out of bombs. No, it's okay. These guys are on the bomb pack.
That's great.
Nice 8 bomb drop. Super clutch. And Furaime's gonna get the mitts too and just thrown.
Right. So now Furaime is thinking, will I follow this? And will it be overworld? Will it be ice?
I still can't believe how hard people are committing to not doing swamp. It's just has been. I don't know. It's a crystal dungeon you can do, even though it's bad. It's still a crystal you can do. It's all of these locations. Now, if they find the mirror hammer here, that's going to make swamp faster. But then you have double dipped ice.
Yeah.
Or you've done pendant Eastern.
Yeah, it's a little strange. But
Ice tea room is still available. So he has to go the long way because he doesn't have a key. He got the last item, maybe. Nope. Nice tea. I wasn't counting. Oh, this is gonna be
King's Tomb.
King's Tomb, because he missed the clip. And now he
Yeah.
has the mitts and can get here very easily.
Yeah.
This has to be one of the worst ice palettes I've ever seen in my life. And all for a compass. Oh, that feels so bad.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I'd love to see Hammer and Mirror in Swamp, though. That's fun. But I hate to see
I agree.
all of this other stuff.
Yeah, I don't agree with going to an incompletable dungeon over a completable dungeon that has twice as many items.
I think Tom's finally doing it because he's going to the dam. He's going to prepare Swamp Palace for a flood. He's going to have to death warp to get out of the hammer pegs. Or he can save and quit and still have the dam flooded. So he'll be okay. But yeah, this is going to require 2 clips from Hera. So it's going to be essentially a triple dip of Swamp. But they're going to be very short dips. So he saves and quit on here. That's going to preserve that state. And allow him to swim out and in again to correct his dungeon ID to actually get credit for clearing Swamp Palace instead of just killing the boss and getting an item and nothing else. Furaime did the clip to ice. That was kind of cool. We'll get to see it again because this is going to be a double dip. You know, you gotta
right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's true. I didn't see which method he used. I just know that he used a method.
otherTom setting up a death warp. I don't
using the most damaging enemies.
I think he's
fireballs
decided
that will always do 1 heart of damage.
I think because I don't know if he knows that you can save and quit. It's actually okay that he opened that. That makes me nervous every time. He already unlocked Swamp, so he's okay.
Okay, yeah.
He went through Mire just like Furaime did.
Right.
Oh, he's gonna damage himself on these. He really wants. Yeah, I would use the fire bar. Although the red hard hat beetle will do a whole heart.
Yeah, 1 whole heart. This is true.
I hope he doesn't have any fairies.
I hope not.
All right. The fact that he has damaged himself down to half a heart shows us that he is in fact going to dash clip here and not bomb clip because that would kill him.
Yeah, that's true. We also get color confirmation on Furaime's side.
Oh, it is orange. We're not crazy. Or just playing CPR Sim too much where the pigs are actually reversed in some of the dungeons. Furaime is also kind of low on bombs. I think putting that bomb down caused a little bit of lag. I don't know if it's enough to make up to actually lose time though.
It really feels like it though if you're on the left
slow.
side.
To see so many clips in this mode, it's so good. This is a good seed for showing all the clips. Because we also get to go back to Pod when we find the hammer.
Yeah, right.
In fact, I feel like we could do a tally, and this is going to win for most clips done in a restream race.
Mm-hmm. And does Zora DMA count as 1?
I just mean like Underworld, but yeah, Zora DMA gets like a lot of points just because it's cool.
All right, so Tom has the first flood room flooded, and now can get back through that room once he reloads Swamp Palace.
Yeah, he's going to open these chests on the way back to make sure that any keys he finds get assigned to the correct dungeon, allowing him to open the big chest of Swamp and not have to dip it twice from Hera, because he's already done that plenty of times. This is going to be his last time going through Swamp in this mode. He's going to find everything in here. Maybe do left side Swamp. Furaime actually did open that chest when he was in Meyer State, which is a little risky, but only a little bit. There's 10 chests. This is 2 of them, so it's a 1 in 5 chance that you find the big key here, and it is here.
It
I
is
hope
there,
Furaime didn't get that, because big chest might be something good.
I don't know for sure. Yeah. So, yeah, it's a chance that I like to take sometimes, but I haven't been punished by it before, so I feel pretty invincible when I take that chance.
My personal rule is if I can swim back if I find it, and they didn't have that option because they hadn't been able to flood it. So if you find it there and you're like, well, shoot, I found it. When am I going to do the big chest? Well, the answer is now. You do it now, and then you do left side, and then doing left side will fix your tile set so you can actually swim back to the front. Or you can just save and quit out of there because you've already unlocked it. Very cute location. Small key in the big chest. Just like vanilla.
Sure. Okay, so we've got Mirrorless Smith on Furaime's side.
And Mirrorless Swamp on Tom's side.
Yeah.
I wonder if Furaime knows about, like, that he can do Swamp.
I don't know. It's probably one of those things where if he's not sure, he'll look it up.
It is something that has tripped people up. Some people at the end of qualifiers have said that they spent time looking for the mirror when they otherwise didn't need it. So it's not unheard of for people to think that they need the mirror to actually get Swamp in Swamp State. I'm sure Furaime knows that if the mirror is there, you could also just go in through Meyer State and get it and then do Swamp.
Mm-hmm.
It is very kind of relatively recent. I mean, you wrote a whole blog post about it, that they discovered that you can save and quit with the dam flooded and keep it that way.
Yeah, exactly. That is a randomizer find, thanks to Furaime. I mean,
wait,
not Furaime, but Baliame.
that was going to surprise me because I'd be like, well, I feel like you would know about it then.
Yeah.
And that's a mirror in Left Side Swamp.
Yeah, that rules.
It finally happened. And I got to be on comms for it. Although I would have loved to be in the seed too. I would have been here so early.
And did Tom check the right hand side first before left?
He did. He did the big key chest first. It might be like I don't know if he runs NMG, but no, he doesn't. He hates NMG Landmo. But if he did, I can see why you'd muscle memory to that, because that's where you go in NMG. It's a really fast. I was going to say a really fast bomb diver down, but he was just a little bit too far to the left with that bomb.
Smith rewards nothing here.
The problem with Mirror is it only unlocks 2 things.
Now one of them is Mimic Cave.
Well, not yet.
Not yet, because we don't have the hammer. Yeah, at this point it does unlock Pyramid Fairy.
It is just Pyramid Fairy. There is a clip you can use, offset a mirror portal, so that when you enter it, you're inside Pyramid Fairy. That's probably what Tom's going to do next, because I don't think he's finding anything of worth here. I think it's just that mirror.
And remind me, does the logic expect you to defeat Vitreous to earn its crystal?
Yeah. I don't think duping is in logic.
Right. So,
So you can't Pyramid Fairy with the red crystals.
Yeah.
And get the cane. You have to have the mirror for that.
Right. It would just be a sequence break at this point.
It's also worth pointing out, since we mentioned that what we're talking about is you can clip to Hera from Meyer and just go to Moldorm's room and collect the Meyer crystal. In this tournament, we require you to still kill Vidi if he has a crystal, because we want you to play the game, and also we don't want to just eliminate the cane as a requirement for Meyer and not have you defeat the boss of the dungeon, because that's kind of against the spirit of playing a mode where you're required to get 7 dungeons completed.
Exactly.
Furaime's doing the Death Warp setup too. This is good. He's doing a much more accessible Kadongo here. But he needs to be a little careful because he is using bomb clips, and he needs to have enough health to do that.
And so we have the magic hammer on Argus. So we have both mirror and hammer locked away in Swamp Palace. So Furaime is on his way there. But now Tom is going back into Ice Palace and can complete it.
Wait, I missed the hammer. Sorry. Pyramid Fairy?
The hammer was at Argus.
What? That's so good. This is my dream seed. Why am I not in this race?
Right.
What is happening? I would have won. But I got to commentate, and that's even better because I got to show off my favorite quirk of this mode. Yeah. So thinking really hard about which direction to go on this pigs, making the correct decision of doing the flood first because you can dive her down to that key, and he doesn't need to anyway. You already unlocked it. But if you wait too long, the Stalfos will just choose for you and push you into it. Don't ask me why I know that.
Very true. Yeah, and no shame in hesitating too. This mode really twists your mind in a knot if you're not familiar with it.
Yeah, you can almost smell the smoke coming out of your brain when you're thinking about the logic in this mode. And you got a seed where Hammer was on Argus and Mirror was in Left Side Swamp. You know some thinking is going to happen. This is not one where you can just turn off your brain and execute. So Hammer, what does that unlock for us? We're still looking for Kane. Obviously we're going to want to clear up these crystal dungeons, but we also get a good portion of Ganon's tower open to us, and Kane can be there too.
Yeah, that's right. So it's 10 plus items and ice armors.
Now if we find the big key, we can climb.
Yeah. We have Mimic Cave available.
No.
And hammer pegs.
Mimic Cave is awful. Nobody wants to go there. You've already done no, I think otherTom hasn't been to TR yet, so it's a little less unappealing.
Spike Cave as well.
Furaime is doing the one frame clip because he's out of bombs, showing us some really, really old tech. This is how it used to be done before.
Yeah, Furaime's getting comfortable here. There's a variety of methods we can use to move one pixel at a time.
I don't know if I've ever seen someone dash buffer diagonals like that before.
Yeah, that was almost there. The first person I saw do that was Glan, and it kind of blew my mind. But
so the bomb pack is the magic enemies. He's not going to find bombs here, is he?
Right.
No, that's the rupees. Maybe that's the bomb. The high value pack.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, it is. It is. Good.
It is. Okay. Well, that's nice.
It is nice. Also, nice hair pots. We get to see so many hair pots.
And Tom is on his way to the Cold Stair now. He's got a tempered sword. Really nice 6-slash fight.
That was really good. 6-slash, I honestly, I think it's like the hardest version of Cold Stair. It's hard to get consistent at it.
Right, and in terms of being able to control the enemies, it has the least control. But
it's more RNG dependent.
It's kind of the first one that we learn.
Mechanically, it's easier. It's just harder to, less of it is in your control than the other ones. Furaime is having a hard time with these bomb clips. This is the hardest bomb clip of the 4 that we're required to do. It's kind of why so many people, you can see why so many people use dash clip. It is legit easier for a lot of us. Because you don't have to do these one frame up buffers. You can just select buffer, which is pretty cozy. The other Tom is going for that density play that I mentioned before, which is Ganon's Tower. It's another clip that we saw from both runners going in, looking for something better to do than hammerless, mirrorless swamp.
Yeah.
He may want those bombs, actually.
Yeah, I agree with that.
This has been a very bomb-intensive mode, and particularly this seed, requiring a lot of clips.
Right. Yeah, what Furaime wants here is 2 upward buffers as soon as he does the bomb clip. And sometimes he's moving more than 1 frame, which causes Link to move too far. And other times the bomb clip itself is putting him on the wrong X coordinate. And so that either requires an adjustment or he has to start over.
Yeah, you can see sometimes he gets upward teleports. It's just 1 pixel off. Yeah, this can get frustrating if you, try it over and over again and just not getting it. Which is kind of why we work so hard to put together all these guides to give people different options, because if this method doesn't work for you, there are other ways to do it. As we saw him attempt the 1 frame clip, the dash clip that otherTom did is also very doable. I think Furaime just hasn't learned it yet.
Yeah, what kind of guides do we have? I know maybe Blunt Bunny did the original bomb clip tutorial. There's one by Purdy Wong who did a video tutorial as well, but you also have your swamp guide.
Yeah, a lot of the original guides were made for the speedrun, so they were, you'll see like the all dungeons restricted major glitches speedrun document has a lot of these tutorials in it, and I kind of compiled them for Randomizer because there wasn't really anything dedicated to Randomizer yet, and the speedrun guide was missing a lot of information that's crucial to Rando. Mostly the logic, like speedrun doesn't care about logic, but also little details like the fact that you have to move the wall in Mire to bomb clip, because in the speedrun you just do that anyway.
Right. Yeah, and fun fact, when there was a community race of all dungeons and at the beginning of 2018, bomb clips were discovered, but we hadn't figured out how to do the Mire bomb clip. And for some reason, only Samurai Prawn knew how to do it, and we weren't sure how he was doing it until Scrivo realized that everyone was using the wrong preset on the practice hack, and we just needed to move the wall.
There's like a famous screenshot of somebody just saying, "It's the torches."
Yeah, it's so the good. Torches.
And a lot of people who have learned this for this tournament has also experienced that themselves, of just trying over and over again, and they don't know what's going wrong, and it's like, this works every other time I've done it, and somebody goes in and just says, "Oh, you gotta move the wall." And it's not very obvious that that's the case, but it kind of just looks like you're doing it wrong, but you're not. It looks like we found the big key, but not a cane, so we're climbing the tower.
Yeah, I believe we found silver arrows as well on left side.
I think Furaime is going to Laser Bridge, hoping to find, or maybe going to Catfish, I don't know. Laser Bridge is out of logic, but he could find, in his mind, he could find the mirror, or he could find the hammer. The mirror alone would just give him access to Swamp from the front door. So if he were to find the mirror here, he wouldn't have to do these clips. He's also run out of bombs, so he has to do something that isn't the clip because he doesn't have any bombs to do it. So he's just going to go to Catfish, hope that he finds something that makes it easier, or just something that he can do to reset while he either brings up a guide or just collects himself.
Uh-huh. There's a shop in the Dark World where you can buy bombs, perhaps. All right, now we have the gauntlet for otherTom. A fun series of rooms.
Mm-hmm. He's getting a little bit bullied.
Yeah.
He has red mail, but it doesn't do much in this room because most of the damage is coming from the BMOS. Nice fairy, though. These enemies being on the high value pack are definitely coming through.
And by the way, he broke the BMOS.
Oh, what?
So if we screen transition immediately after BMOS fires a beam, in certain rooms, in the next screen, the BMOSs will not be able to fire.
Oh, that's nice.
So
He also
it
broke
potentially, and yeah, so potentially those screens can be a little easier. And G5 was nice for Tom being able to hit the skeleton with the arrow.
Is broken BMOS something you can like do on purpose?
I think so, but it's not something I've tried to do. It's always something that happens by accident for me.
It's kind of like breaking the spike in Spike Skip Room when the Stalfos throws a bone when you transition.
Exactly. And a very nice Wizrobes 1 for Tom.
Yeah.
Getting a 1 cycle.
1 cycle with the bow. I don't know how to do that, but it looks cool. And whenever I see people do that,
oh no!
I think it'll be okay as long as he's just like smooth here.
Yeah.
And just wait out that jingle because the timing is different than what you're used to. The Furaime is gonna go to Laser Bridge using a mirrorless wrap. This is out of logic. He's hoping he just finds the mirror here because that's going to make his life a lot easier. Unfortunately, we know it's not there, but this is a very good play for when you are just getting walled by something. Sometimes the best thing to do is just go somewhere else and hope that you find something that makes your life a little easier.
Yeah, we know it won't have progression, but it is a high density play.
Yeah, it's true also that the cane could have been in swamp and the hammer here. There's a lot of things that make this smart. Like, I think this is the correct thing for him to do if he's not gonna just keep trying the bomb clip.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not finding the cane in Ganon's tower. But we did have to go through it to get the big key and to climb. It's required in this mode. Other than pod, we know pod is not an item, so it's not something people are going to rush with the hammer, but it is something we have to clear. What else is left? otherTom still has those pendant dungeons available that Furaime did earlier.
Yeah, that's interesting.
There's also, those mirror lock locations. Mimic Cave is open. Pyramid Fairy is open.
Yeah.
Or pegs can be done after Pyramid Fairy by swimming through the moat, doing an out of bounds clip. I think Pyramid Fairy into hammer pegs. And then Smith might be the play for him next. From my perspective, it's the least bad play, and it's the one that leans on what he found in Swamp. Assuming he is not, feeling bad that he went to Swamp too late and feels like those items would have hurt him by leading to progression, so he goes somewhere else.
Did we see Spike Cave from Tom?
That's a good question.
That might be open.
I feel like he would have done that on the way into GT, but he might be thinking about doing it into Pyramid Fairy instead. So this is probably hammer pegs now.
I really like that blue sky, by the way.
It is. It's very Castlevania.
Yeah.
All right, we're back at it. Rematch with the bomb clip.
All right.
Go.
So, we have a long swim here from Tom. It is a logical way to access the Hammer Pegs cave if we do not have the mitts.
And it's also just nice to route in this way because even when you do have the mitts, if you're already on the pyramid, this is the fastest way to get there. Other than maybe a fake flute. I wonder why Furaime is...
There it is.
Oh, it's there. It's okay. So it was hammer locked. Everything was in swamp.
Yes. That's right.
This is a rough seed for people who aren't a fan of HMG swamp. And a really good seed for people who are. This actually surprises me that nobody has finished yet, because I know there are some people who thrive off of seeds like this.
Oh yeah.
I think most of them are not in this race, though.
Uh-huh.
Prithel has gone to sleep. I'm here commentating. Krellball is, who knows? Those are the people I know who would have rushed Swamp, so.
Yeah, good point.
Furaime needs that health from the pots to keep bomb clipping. I wonder if he recognizes that. Oh, he has a red mail. So he can take
Yeah,
one
that's
more
right.
hit. Wow. Do you think he's missing information or is he missing inputs?
Information probably. I think it's the X coordinate problem.
Do you think he has to do an adjustment to the left or right? I guess it would be to the
Yeah,
right. Usually.
I think he doesn't know the adjustment on left, back to the right, and for whatever reason, every bomb clip he does is landing him on the left pixel.
Mm-hmm.
That's my theory.
Yeah, and when you do that, it's usually because of the buffers he's doing to the right after he picks up the pot. Those do matter. You really want to do like one buffer, or is
Yeah,
it two? It's been a while since I've done the bomb.
one,
clip.
just one,
Just
but like,
one.
sometimes we see none.
None, yeah. Meanwhile, otherTom is in go mode, and he's just tearing through his remaining dungeons. He still has to do pod. Swamp is fully cleared, so that is complete. Mire is on its way to being complete, and after that, it's just Ganon. We've already done Aga 2. It looked good. And he didn't have to set up the death warp. I don't know if he remembers that he already did this part. Because I saw him taking intentional damage.
Oh.
Now he's a little worried. Drink the potion. You worked so hard to get here. Good.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that red potion was made for this moment. Oh, he didn't pick up the big key.
Right.
Didn't matter because that's not where the items were, but it's funny how he opened the first chest because the first chest gives you some info about whether Swamp is accessible from the front.
Yeah.
Although it never was in this seed with where the mirror and hammer were, but it's also just it's right there, like it's so hard not to open it.
Yeah,
and
that's the kind of play I would do too, and it's like a 1 in 10.
It's a little curiosity. Like you just have to know: is it a small key?
All right, so now.
Yeah, Tom is just going to pod, and that's it. He's done with the seed. And he's going to go through the cave again. You can see he's on the mountain, and that's where pod is in this mode. So
yeah,
I didn't talk about it much, but this little wrap gets you to Spectacle Rock Cave a little faster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the more I think about it, the more I realize how many people are involved in the glitch community and speedrun community, and I actually can't remember whether that was a Yuzuhara find or a Pincus find.
It's also a really smooth Kiki skip from Tom, like really fast.
And which method did Tom use to Kiki skip?
He teleported.
Oh, the teleport. Okay, very nice. We saw an Insta clip from Furaime. It's teleportless.
Yeah. So the teleport is kind of similar to what Furaime was doing in Swamp, where you have to do an up buffer with your sword, or just your preferred method of up buffering. People who are bad at up bufferings will often learn the insta clip because it's just easier for those people, including me. And there is no insta clip option for Swamp, so you have to learn that method or one of the sort of select buffered methods. So Furaime is doing actually worth nice high risk, low reward hook thing.
That's a Furaime special. He always does it.
Fun one. The mirror didn't actually matter in the seed, did it?
Right. Yeah. In fact, I would have wasted time with it if I were in Tom's shoes after Ganon's tower. I probably would have saved and quit and done a mirror portal. Just because I would be anxious about checking Pyramid Fairy.
I would have done the exact same thing because I would have like you said, like Spike Cave wasn't done before GT. I would have done Spike Cave, Pyramid Fairy, and then Hammer Pigs, and taken longer to get to that location.
Right. Yeah.
Because you usually want to go for density, and Hammer Pigs is one thing, and you can get two things with Hammer Pigs or with the mirror. So. This mode sure is funky. Wait till you see what's on Argus.
The boss room. I love the color scheme here.
It's a nice color, and I'm glad we don't have to see ice again.
It's like a carpeted room for Helmathor. Yeah, it also looks good against the backdrop of the layout.
The real insult is not having Kane for Ice Palace twice.
Twice?
Yeah, well, they double dipped it.
That's true.
And they went there before going to Hammer Pigs.
Yeah, that's true.
Tom's just heading to Ganon now. This is the fastest way to get there from Save and Quit, I believe. So, well, not really, but it's the fastest way that doesn't require like a bunch of clips.
Yeah,
there's ways that look really cool and
another high risk, low reward situation.
Because you can just drop into the Ganon hole and wind up in Houlihan if you mess it up.
Alright, so Argus is down for Furaime. He's rewarded with that hammer.
Hammer on Argus, just like in vanilla.
And now Furaime just needs the cane for go mode.
Having done the Smith chain already is less likely to beeline Hammer Pigs after GT, because I wonder if otherTom was intending to do the Smith from there, because that's kind of the best time to do it. That isn't never. Yeah, Kane is in Hammer Pigs, and Tom swam there after Ganon's tower using the moat clip. Furaime is just going to clear up some crystals. This one is purely a crystal. Deciding to just keep it NMG going through the maze to get here. He has the flute, so it makes sense to do this.
Yeah.
Probably not even slower.
Yeah, I actually don't know the answer to that. Because it's different. It's a difference of overworld time versus pod reset time.
Yeah, and also like the main benefit of Kiki Skip is like you get to unlock that door, and you can do it without the Moon Pearl. But yeah, you already did that, so. Oh, Moon Pearl was in pod too. This is a great seed. I'm gonna make some people play this who weren't in the qualifier. This is a keeper.
Yeah, for sure.
I think I have a certain someone who accepts viewer seeds for 50 channel points. Alright, we got 2 arrows to Ganon and he's dead. That is GG for otherTom.
Yeah, well played by Tom.
Yeah, and otherTom, you know, has finished in 2nd place with the official race time.gg time of 1:42.24. The seed has, I want to say, stumped a lot of people with its required full HMG experience for Swamp and Pod.
Yeah, did you say the full swamp, the full HMG experience?
Yes. The only thing it didn't have is the ice palace without fire.
Right. Yeah, Kiki Skip was required to earn Moon Pearl and the Pod Big Chest, and Mire to Swamp and Swamp to Mire, or to Swamp, Swamp to Hera. No, excuse me, My, Mire to Hera and Hera to Swamp.
Yeah, Hera
were
was actually
required.
not Mire locked, but it didn't really matter. Like, we had hookshot early, we would have just Hera potted anyway. But
Yeah.
I think the hammer and mirror and swamp makes up for it. And we're joined by otherTom. GG, congrats on second place in this doozy of a seed. How did you like it?
Thank you. It was terrible. It was awful.
No, I love this seed. It was so good. This was
I hope it was entertaining.
You guys want to know what HMG can do? This is the seed that I showed them.
Yeah, it doesn't get much more HMG than Mirror in Swamp and Hammer in Swamp.
And Moon Pearl and Pod.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That trauma was so far behind me.
You know a seed is good when you forget about the Moon Pearl and Pod.
Oh, so you might have noticed that I died trying to do spin speed, but 10 minutes into the game, apparently my controller that I normally use decided that it just wasn't going to do that anymore. So I had to do a substitution. So the whole seed I was playing on my backup controller, and it was terrible.
Man, I would never like that. Your dash clip in Swamp was really fast.
I love that clip. Yeah. I practiced it so much when it was found that it's my favorite way to do it.
I remember when you optimized that room down to like 10 seconds, and it was very impressive.
Yeah, I think that's a clip that really benefits a lot from practice, because you get a feel for how the timing on the buffer is, and you can get it inside the dash in the wall, and it saves a ton of time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all in all, I've lost count of how many times we saw something get clipped in the underworld. There were a lot of underworld clips in the seed. Really, really good to show off the mode and show off the runners.
Yeah, that was the mirror and hammer and swamp. Just like, you never want to do the whole swamp trip without either of those items. And I put it off for so long. I took a lot of things, and then it's kind of like, yeah, I got to do this.
Sometimes you just have to accept your fate.
Sometimes you got to go where the items are.
Yeah.
Yeah. The mirror didn't even matter. It was just there, just to tease you.
It's just there to say, how are we going to get in the swamp? Huh?
Mm-hmm. Oh.
And
this was another.
Tom, as you run through these qualifiers, how are you feeling about how you approach the seed? Do you do big skips? Do you go for item density? How would you say you approach this one?
I play too conservatively most of the time. I've been getting the middle of the pack finishes, and this is my best finish so far, which, even that seed. Yeah. I play too conservatively, and I need to take a couple more risks, and like go into GT. I drive, maybe not without hammer, but go into GT and bet items there, things like that.
Yeah, you were very thorough with the overworld checks. It ended up not hurting you too much, because everybody else who was, facing their fate decided to do those as well before doing swamp.
Yeah, there were just so many items in this seed that were viably in the last place anybody would reasonably look. Yeah, I was not feeling good about the seed at all while I was playing. I was very surprised to see that I got second in the race.
Well, you played it very well. Like, you went to the places, but you went to the places quickly, and that's what counts sometimes when everyone else is also doing that.
Thank you. It's some of the execution felt good. It's hard to feel good about
the double device, and yeah. Sometimes, you know.
I saved and quit out of Mire, which was oh, that hurt.
Oh, I missed that. Instead of going to Swamp?
No, I saved and quit after getting flippers in Mire Shed, I think it was.
Oh, I do remember that, yeah.
And I just was like, oh, I have to go into Mire. I was just at Mire. Like that's,
yeah, because
okay.
The Swamp small key locked an item, so you didn't want to spend that. You could have done back of escape and got a key for escape and then gone to the front and opened the door for a key steal, but at that point you might as well just do Mire because it's faster. So
that's what I was thinking when I found Hammer and Swamp. I was thinking, you know, somebody probably stole a key from Hera or sewers and came in here at 45 minutes and nope.
I think that only happens if you either just gamble the small key of Hera isn't required, or you get the moon pearl so early that you have a glove and get the key before going to the front and escape. There's a certain brand of HMG player who will just beeline the HMG stuff because it's fun, but it doesn't look like a lot of the people in this race were of that mindset.
Yeah, I'm definitely not the Hera to Swamp key stealer very often.
Yeah, it's hard for me to even visualize how to work escape into that.
Yeah, I think the location of that key made it awkward. Like, if you did early escape looking for a moon pearl, that wasn't going to happen. It was never going to be faster to do that than to just go to Mire. And when you go to Mire, you can look for items as well.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I find that Mire without Kane is better in this mode than in other modes because you can justify it by unlocking Swamp.
Yeah, it's kind of a pick your dungeon kind of thing.
Exactly. It's a T-shaped dungeon, and if one of the branches is blocked off, you can just go to the other one, and you're still making progress.
Yeah, it really almost feels like a second GT in some ways, in that there's just so many items to check, and when you go into Mire, you kind of have to make a choice about, you know, how much you're going to clear and how much time you're going to spend there, because doing the entire Mire Swamp Hera thing is just a massive time investment.
It's a beautiful mummy hallway from Furaime. Very practiced, like NMG dash. Oh man, dashing through the Wool Master. Yeah, we got someone in chat who didn't even find the mirror, showing that you don't need it in this mode for most things.
Yeah, I'd be really curious to see what items people got stuck on the most.
A nice quick Mothula as well. Just has to still has to find the cane, but the next dungeon logically is GT, and hopefully you go to Hammer Pegs from there because it's sort of on the way, and might actually be. I was gonna say last location, but there's still Mimic Cave and the Pyramid Fairy.
Something that was on my mind for the last half of that seed, after finding the mirror, was that I could have done the Pyramid Fairy into Hammer Pegs before GT.
I was thinking of doing that after
would have been a
GT.
really good play, but just, yeah. It's like GT is so much more likely.
You hadn't found the big key at GT yet, so you had to clear it anyway, and I think I've seen so many canes in GT that you did the correct thing. In fact, if me and Chex were saying that if it were us, we would have done GT and then saved and quit out of the pyramid and then done a whole route of Pyramid Fairy into Hammer Pigs and Smith afterward and lost time to doing those things. Yeah, people are asking about key soft lock scenarios. It is possible in this mode. One of them is picking up the big key of Pod and Cave State. Just don't do that. But there's a more subtle one where you spend the Hera key in Swamp, but you haven't found the Mire Medallion yet. If the Mire Medallion is in the Hera basement and you don't have a plan to get that key back, you're stuck. Can't get into Mire to unlock that door.
Yeah, that makes that Hera key very scary.
Yeah. There, like I said though, have a plan to get it back. It's possible to steal it back from Swamp when you're in there. There's ways you can set it up to full clear Swamp and still have a key left over. You can just open chests in Swamp and hope you find the Swamp small key. You can steal that one from the Hera or from the escape. So it's not completely destroyed. It's just a matter of have a plan,
Then lock yourself out of escape.
You can, yeah, if you don't have a glove, you can lock yourself out of escape by stealing that key. That's true.
Yeah, I was really thinking there'd be something in the back of escape after the glove was so inconveniently placed, but it didn't happen.
Yeah, Skull Woods.
Right.
You got a little lucky with the fire rod before Skull. Furaime had to double dip that.
Yeah, that was nice. It kind of gave a routing choice in terms of going to Skull or going down to South Dark World, but I was pretty happy with how that went.
Was there an item in the his nice ice rod? Was there an item in the Thieves' Town
right.
big chest?
No,
That's good. Small mercy.
there was in Hera Basement though, which was definitely on my mind.
Furaime checked that after unlocking Meyer, deciding it's safe to do that because the key doesn't really need it anymore.
I gave a real big think to that when I was on the way to Ether Medallion, whether I should just save Scum it right there and find out or not, and it never feels good.
I used to be a big fan of just avoid doing Meyer into Swamp, but I think that Meyer into Swamp is actually a pretty strong play, and you just have to evaluate your options and the benefits, and sometimes you have that Meyer can be progression, so you can go inside Meyer and do Swamp on the way, and that can pay off over just avoiding it altogether.
Yeah, it can really be hard to evaluate because you don't necessarily know that you're going to have access to Meyer anytime soon either. You just know before Swamp.
Yeah. Furaime has left. Can climb the tower, hope the cane is here. Thankfully, he doesn't have to worry about the right side at all, because the cane can't be there.
Oh, it was such a relief finding the big key in GT here.
Oh, having the triple dip, that would have been rude.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been. I mean, there were definitely worse places the cane could have been. I think Mimic Cave is probably on your mind.
It would have gotten you out of GT, which is nice.
Say that again.
It would have gotten you out of GT a little faster, but you definitely would have had to come back. And GT double dip isn't that bad in glitch modes, but you don't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Pure execution from here. Furaime is a really experienced runner, so we get to see some kind of overpowered gauntlet equipment. Just bulldozing through this. That high value pack really came in through, though. I think there were a couple times when people ran out of bombs doing clips and just found the 8-bomb pack. The fairy and the gauntlet for you.
Yeah, I'm glad I've got that second fairy after passing up on the first one, thinking, no, there's no way.
Ah, the fairy wrap. It's so good. Can Kane be at the top of GT with this key layout? I don't know. Do you know, Chex? I mean,
assuming that it was, but I don't think it could have been.
Because there's a key in tile room. Is that correct? Because he only has one key climbing. But
I defer to other people for all logic-related key questions.
There can't be a key in the compass room because the big key wasn't there, so it can only be tile room.
There was a key in the pre-mold arm chest, which I think has some kind of implication, but I'm not sure what.
You need 3 keys to climb, so if there's a key in the pre-mold arm chest and one in tile room, then the cane can't be here.
That makes sense, yeah.
Something I always just kind of I don't really know. You can just open these anyway, but something about seeing that 1 in his key counter makes me think like the cane won't be here. But I don't know enough about the logic. I just kind of intuit it a little bit. Like, oh, 1 is a really low number. It's probably not here.
Yeah, I was thinking it'd be terrible if you skipped opening chests and it was there.
What are you gonna do? Skip these? Like, they're right here. Just do it for your peace of mind.
Yeah.
You might find the super duper silver arrows that kill Ganon in one hit.
Yeah, the light arrows.
Yeah, the light arrows. There you go. You might find the cape. You don't have that yet.
I'm just wondering where the last heart is for Furaime. He's got 19.
I'm sure it's some heart piece in the overworld he didn't pick up. That's usually what it is.
Yeah. All right, Aghanim 2 for Furaime. Let's see how this goes. I didn't catch the patterns on Tom's side. This is the most challenging boss to practice, to really understand it, to understand what you have to do to reduce the cycles, to minimize the cycles.
I agree. It feels like of all the bosses, your return on investment for practice is the worst on this fight.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can spend 2 hours on Ganon and basically bring it down to a consistent amount of time, but this one, 2 hours isn't going to get you there.
Yeah. 4 cycles is okay. 2 cycles is, of course, ideal, not always possible. 3 cycles is very good.
What are your complaints about 3 cycles?
Yeah, exactly.
So where does he go from here? This is a mirror and flute, which is not hammer pigs unless he chooses to just fly there, which he can. But I also think, you gotta follow that mirror, right? So Pyramid Fairy or Mimic Cave, which is not going to be
possibly a Pyramid Fairy.
Yeah. You can still go to Hammer Pigs from there if he thinks about it. It's almost not faster. Like it is, but when you have the flute and the mitts, you can probably just fly to 3. So that's going to feel a little bit orphaned to him. It's not going to feel as much like it's on the way.
Yeah, this ended up being a halfway decent seed for the flute, just because there were so many one-offs to check.
And activate yours, did you?
That's true. You had that.
I did actually. I had a couple of checks that were really far apart, and one of them was the mushroom. I thought, I could walk to mushroom, or I could walk to flute activation and flute to mushroom. Kind of.
When you have a mushroom, flute makes sense. This is going to be a clip. This is good. He's clipping. Or unless he's just going to... No, he already went to Catfish. This is Hammer Pigs. This is going to be go mode.
Absolutely.
I think it's just... If he didn't already do Spike Cave and Mimic Cave are the only locations left, as far as I can think of. Ooh, yeah, I think it needs to be lower on the screen and have a little more momentum coming out of here. There you go.
Oh my goodness.
That would have been bad if he had soft locked there. But
I think it is possible, yeah.
Doesn't have that much left, so...
Did Furaime dip Turtle Rock at all?
He did. So what happened to Furaime was he struggled with the bomb clip in Swamp considerable amount and had to actually leave, get bombs, and do some checks. And I think he went to Pyramid Fair. No, he went to Laser Bridge, which, we all know it can't be there, but the mirror still could have been there. The hammer could have been there. So those things are would have basically bailed him out of having to do that clip.
Yeah, that would have been an attractive check early when you have more items missing.
He had a little cleanup too. Catfish was available, so he did that, and then he got some bombs for a rematch of Swamp Palace clip. Might be worth. I don't know if he's gonna watch this after, but to learn that dash clip, I find it so much easier than the bomb clip. You don't have to worry about landing on the wrong pixel, making adjustments. You can just do the same thing every time, and it always works.
And it doesn't deal damage, which can be important sometimes, like when you're setting up for a bomb death warp.
Yeah, that happened a couple times too. You kept having to refill hearts at the the safety hearts, because you would set up for the death warp for the hammer and then need more health to keep trying.
It took me a second to even kind of figure out what I had to do there, because I've never actually death warped out of there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
also save and quit would have worked as well if you didn't want a death warp, because save and quit does preserve that water state, even when you're not currently at the dam. It would have just been slightly slower than death warping. So if you want to be a little safer about it and not worry about dying to your bomb. There's a moment where Furaime like got in with like no health and drank a potion because he had worked so hard to get in there. We all breathed a sigh of relief because that would have been tragic.
Now we have a Silver Arrow fight versus Vitreous, a not so scary fight. We still have 17 hearts remaining at the end of it.
Do you think that will be enough to beat the video game?
I believe so.
I think 19 arrows enough to kill Ganon.
I hope so.
I have faith.
Seeing the pendant dungeons. You have no pendants on your side. And only 2 bottles. Where were the bottles? I'm confused now. This would have been an interesting no logic seed. Yeah, they must have just been in Turtle Rock or in GT, like behind the cane. That's the only place. Or Mimic Cave. I think Mimic Cave is the only thing we didn't see that wasn't cane locked. And Spike Cave? Did you do Spike Cave?
No.
I didn't think so. I thought you were going to do that with Pyramid Fairy.
Yeah, I don't think we saw Spike Cave this seed.
Spike Cave is terrible, so can't blame you.
If you ever race against me and there's a critical item at Spike Cave, congratulations.
Good to know.
Making notes for later in the tournament.
I think we all have those kind of sacrificial checks. We just say, I sacrifice this check to the rando gods. If it has progression, I accept my fate.
You gotta check something last. Just that's how it works.
Exactly. Something has to be your last location, even if it's Crystal Thieves or Swamp. Sorry, that wasn't meant to be a dig at checks. It just came to my mind.
Yeah. I was gonna say I stand by it, but it's not
okay.
Not from a competitive standpoint, but more from that's just what I felt like doing perspective.
I think my version of that is you find an item in Skull Wiz in your first check, I just leave. And if there's something else there, I'm screwed. That's it. I accept that.
Oh, these are awful warps too, that's right.
It's a good double silver hit on the first going for Torch Glitch, but doesn't quite make it. But so I think that Torch Glitch would have frozen Ganon in a really good spot. But he gets it, and that's GG for Furaime with an official racetime.gg time of 2:07:29.
GG.
GG's to Furaime. So there you have it. The most hybrid major glitches of the hybrid major glitches qualifiers that I've seen so far.
I think Furaime will give an interview.
Looks unlikely.
Okay.
But more power to Furaime, and good luck to everyone going forward in these qualifiers.
Yeah, there's 4 more left. This is number 8. There are 12. So keep an eye on them. They have been really consistently getting restreams. To my surprise, I thought we would get like 2 at best. But people are rallying forward to volunteer for these commentator and tracker roles. Give a shout out to our crew, our tracker Samimus and my co-comm Chex Human, and our runners, otherTom and Furaime, and SpeedGaming for putting this on for us.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Thanks again, Malmo.
Mm.
Hypnotized by the sped up credits here.
Yeah.
It's nice to see that we can skip ahead with 4 times the speed as before.
It's so fast, but you know, my SNES 9X is even faster. But this one you can do with your music still playing, which is really nice if you're using MSU packs. So currently on SpeedGaming 3, we have an SMZ3 race that seems to be kind of in its final stages, if you want to check that out. There was also recently a tournament finals that I have not been spoiled of yet. So if you missed that because you were watching this, do go back and watch that VOD. This is the main tournament of A Link to the Past Randomizer. That was Dante and Gamachu duking it out for the championship. And with that, we'll be out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.